Hey, welcome back to the Stash. Superman has always been more than just a comic book character. He's a promise, a beacon of hope that stands tall in a world that so often feels on the verge of collapse. For over 85 years, his stories have been told and retold, reinvented for new generations, but at their best, they all come back to the same core idea. Superman shows us what it means to be better. Not perfect, not untouchable, just simply better. And this issue of Joshua Williamson's Superman is exactly that. There's an energy here, a raw, chaotic brilliance that feels larger than life. Every panel is filled with stakes, every page demands your attention, and every moment reminds you why this character is one of the greatest of all time. It's not just about the fights or the spectacle, though believe me, there's plenty of that. It's about the feeling, the weight of what Superman stands for. And so let me tell you this, out of the 20 issues we've gotten so far from Williamson, this has easily got to be up there as one of my favorites. This was just what I felt like we needed, a true honest-to-God action-packed comic, and issue 20 of Superman is a masterclass in how to do these sort of releases. But before we dive into the story, I just wanted to take a quick second to let you all know that here at The Stash, we are all about celebrating moments like this. Superman stories like these are the reasons why so many of us fell in love with comics in the first place, and if you're new around here, welcome. We're on a mission to hit 6,000 subscribers, and every click, every comment, every share brings us closer to that goal. So if you're a Superman fan or just someone who loves talking about comic books, feel free to stick around and maybe hit that subscribe button. But anyway, with all that being said, let's jump right back into the video. Our story picks up right where we left off last time. Chaos, destruction, and one crazy cliffhanger. Doomsday, the unstoppable force of nature we thought we knew, has evolved into something far more terrifying. The Time Trapper. A creature so warped by death and rebirth that he's no longer bound by time itself. And now, in this fractured moment of times colliding, he's come to Superman, not to fight him, but to ask for help. Yeah, you heard that right. Doomsday wants Superman's help. It's not entirely clear what he's after, but his cryptic plea boils down to this. He wants to die, again, for he believes that through one more death, one more painful evolution, he can ascend to godhood. But as always, there's more to the story that he fully doesn't give away. Doomsday mentions Zod coming back sometime soon, the weight of futures yet to come, and an eerie reminder that Superman will survive the coming horrors, but his friends maybe not so lucky. Before disappearing, Doomsday gives Clark a choice. When they meet again, Superman can either help him or watch everyone he loves perish. For now, as a twisted act of faith, Doomsday freezes time long enough to give Clark a chance, a head start to stop the Doomsday of this era. Time resumes in a flash. Superwoman is mid-swing, ready to strike, but Superman doesn't hesitate. In a blur, he circles the entire Earth, gathers every ounce of his strength, and lands a devastating punch on Doomsday. The impact alone is enough to send ripples throughout the Earth, but the hellfire surrounding Doomsday sears Clark's knuckles, leaving him bleeding. And yet, this is only round one. While Superman holds the line, Superwoman takes on the Doomhounds. Meanwhile, the rest of the world's heroes mobilize. Still works overseas evacuation, the Justice League's heavy hitters are ready to unleash hell at a moment's notice. Even Lex Luthor is on the ground helping civilians. It's a massive coordinated effort to stop an enemy that's evolved beyond their comprehension. But Supercorp has a plan, one so insane it might just work. They call in Rudy Jones, known to the world as Parasite. From the skies, they drop him straight onto Doomsday like a living weapon. He latches on, draining Doomsday's seemingly infinite energy. For a moment, it looks like they've turned the tide, but Doomsday is, well, Doomsday. He adapts, he survives, and in one horrifying instant, he grabs Rudy and rips him in two. This moment snaps Superman. It's pure rage. He pounds Doomsday relentlessly, his red levels, the indicators of Kryptonian overload, spiking dangerously high. Every blow cracks the ground, shatters the air, and pushes Superman closer to the brink. But it's not just brute force that saves the day. Supercorp, in one final gamble, deploys Black Mercy Venom, injecting it straight into Doomsday. The Venom traps him in his own mind, forcing him to live out in a dream world while reality finally gets a breather. The day is saved. For now, but there's an undeniable tension in the air. Doomsday's cryptic warnings linger. What could be worse than him? What horrors are still waiting in the shadows? We head back to Clark and Lois's apartment. We see that Jimmy is starting to catch on. There's some suspicious work at play here regarding Superwoman, considering there's still somehow no footage or photos of her at all. But Lois tries to relax Olsen and puts the conversation on hold for tomorrow. Lois then asks Clark how he's doing. It's clear something is still bothering him. He tries to brush it off, but Lois knows better and reassures him that they're in this entire thing together. And so the two share a quiet, beautiful moment as they stare out into the night sky. And so our story ends when we cut to Callerton, where a mysterious figure watches from the darkness. They've noticed recent events. The ultimate has returned. And so that means it is time. Time for their revenge. And they swear that no one will be able to stand in their way. I'm genuinely in awe at how much I've loved Joshua Williamson's Superman run, but especially this issue in particular. It's the kind of Superman storytelling that reminds you why this character has endured for over 85 years, and the best part, it's just so much fun. After my first Superman review, I made it my mission to catch up on the entire volume before diving into the next video, and so one night I sat down and just let the hours fly on by reading every single issue back to back, and let me tell you, there's something so magical about immersing yourself in the world of Superman for hours on end. Sure, not every release was flawless, some of the dialogue felt clunky at times, but when a series clicks, it clicks, and this issue, this one absolutely soars. The pacing is snappy, the dialogue is engaging, and the action is pure chaotic goodness. It's a show-don't-tell masterclass, and I adore that. This issue respects the intelligence of its audience. It doesn't need to spoon-feed you the stakes or the emotional weight. Instead, it properly lets you feel it. But my general thoughts about this story after the first issue was that this plot feels, I don't know, kind of silly, and at first glance it's something I wasn't quite sure if I actually liked the idea of, but Williamson is just making this so much fun that I just can't help but have a good time. It's ridiculous, sure, but it's also ridiculously fun. Williamson takes what could have been a gimmicky idea and injects it with heart, charm, and just enough self-awareness to keep it from veering into a parody. That said, there's one element I'm still on the fence about, and that's Lois Lane with powers. Look, I get it, Lois being Superwoman is a big, bold idea that's not new in any way, shape, or form, but it's also one that treads dangerously close to undermining who she is at her core. Lois Lane doesn't need powers to be extraordinary. That's the point, and while this story hasn't outright endorsed her compromising her journalistic integrity, it's walking a fine line. Part of me hopes this is all building to something, like maybe Jimmy Olsen will play a crucial role leading up to it, with him forcing Lois to confront the choices she's made or something along those lines. There are hints of foreshadowing that suggest this could be the case, and if so, I'm excited to see where it leads, but if this subplot drags on too long, that's where my patience might start to wear thin. But Lois's characterization within these last couple of issues is just, it's fine. It's not great, it's not terrible, just fine. And that's frustrating because we all know and have seen how much depth this character can have. Remember the Lois and Clark episode where she got powers? It wasn't just a fun gimmick, it was a deeply emotional story about her struggling with the weight of these abilities. Whereas here, it feels like it's a little too easy, a little too surface level. I want to see Lois wrestle what this means for her identity, her values, and her relationship with Clark. I want to see Clark worry, really worry about what it means to have the love of his life fighting side by side with him. How does he cope with the idea that she's now facing the same dangers he does every day? I mean, she literally fought Doomsday in this issue. I would have thought that that aspect of the story would be a great area to explore and to really show us what's going on in these characters beyond their outer layers. There's so much potential for emotional storytelling here, but in some cases, it just feels like it only scratches the surface. And to be honest, that's my main critique of Williamson's run as a whole. It sometimes plays things just too safe. The Superman cast should be this idealized version, yes, but they also need to feel human. Show us their flaws, their insecurities, their moments of doubt. Williamson occasionally gives us glimpses of this, but it rarely goes all in. So it is clear that there's room for improvement, but even so, I still really like this run, and granted, I have some issues with aspects of the individual characterizations, but I still have to admit that Lois and Clark's relationship is beautifully written. You can feel the weight of their history, the decades of love and trust that bind them together. It's the heart of the story, and it's what makes this issue and run as a whole shine. And then there's the action. Oh my god, the action. This issue doesn't just deliver, it absolutely nails it. No preachy monologues about the state of the world, no anticlimactic battles that leave you feeling like there should have been more. This is pure, unfiltered Superman brilliance, a true clash of the Titans, and Dan Mora. This man is operating on another level entirely. I know some people prefer his earlier work, but you can tell that this book is his passion project. Every panel bursts with energy, every fight scene feels cinematic, and the sheer scale of it all is jaw-dropping. And Alejandro Sanchez's colors are just utter perfection. He and Mora are an unstoppable team. That Parasite panel was brilliant. So overall, this issue isn't just another chapter in a great Superman run. It's a bold, confident showcase of what makes this series stand out from the other modern releases. It delivers breathtaking action, heartfelt character moments, and sheer creative energy that few comics today can match. Superman issue 20 raises the bar. It delivers a story that soars high with the hope and brilliance that only Superman can embody, showing that even in the world of DC, a world crowded by so many superheroes, the Man of Steel's light still shines the brightest.